Hello and welcome to cookingflavors.com. For today's video is part of our how-to series. We look at how to make ginger and garlic paste at home to store them and use it for a couple of months, and here are the list of ingredients that are required for this. First up, I have some ginger here that I've soaked in water for some time. Ginger will have a lot of dust and mud and soil, so make sure you wash it a couple of times thoroughly well till you see it nice and clean. Now, the measurement of this ginger and garlic, I just do an eyeball measurement of both the ginger and garlic. This is only if you're experienced, but for beginners, I will measure both the ginger and the garlic, and I will let you know as we proceed through the video. Now, if you see, I have washed my ginger nicely well and I have peeled the skin. When you peel the skin, use a fine knife or the back of a spoon and just take out the skin very finely, because you don't want to take a lot of flesh out when you're peeling the skin. So peel the skin of the ginger nicely well, and here I have about 5 bulbs of garlic. I'll be using all the 5 bulbs of garlic. When I'm using the garlic, I will not be discarding the peels or the skin of the garlic, because anyway you're going to grind it, so it'll get ground very well, and the peels of the garlic or the skin of the garlic is very good for your health, so try retaining the skin of the garlic. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure both of these just to help beginners with the measurement. Now, if you see, I have separated the garlic from the bulb. I've separated them into cloves or pods, and I have just the outer peels, the loose peels alone I have discarded, and like the head of the bulb and the mid rib or whatever you call it, I've discarded all that. And also, when you're cleaning the garlic, make sure to look out for rotten ones. If you're taking out a lot of rotten ones, make sure you substitute it with good ones. So this is the ginger and the garlic is ready. Now we look at the measurement. Now I have measured both. I had about 280 grams of the ginger and about 295 grams of the garlic. So this was just an eyeballing that I took. So, but when I measured it, it was like 280 of ginger and 295 of the garlic. That's okay. But if you want, you can take equal measurements of both, or you can have just 250 of one and 300 grams of the other. So it's up to your choice. For beginners, for easy reference, I would say go for equal measurements of both the ginger and the garlic. Now we look at the grinding. Now make sure you completely pat dry your ginger. You should not have any moisture at all. So I completely dried it in a tissue paper overnight and made sure there's absolutely no water in it, because you're going to preserve it for a longer time. So make sure it's completely dry. Now, when you're adding the ginger and the garlic, make sure you fill it in layers, a little bit of the ginger and a little bit of the garlic, because don't add just the ginger first and then the garlic. Just alternatively form layers of both. And while doing this recipe, make sure you have a spatula like this, but if you don't have, no problem. As we proceed through the video, I'll show you the purpose of having such a spatula for this kind of a recipe. You will see that in the following steps. Now, this is the initial grinding that I have done. I have not added any water at all. So initially you'll have to use the pulse or the whip button, and then gradually you can use the speed mode. Now I'll show you the purpose of this spatula. You see, the jar is fully messy around. So when you use a spatula like this, you can wipe it down nice and clean like this, because you're not allowed to use your hand. If you're going to use your hand while cleaning the jar, the ginger and garlic paste will get spoiled. So even by accident, do not use your hands. Use a spoon, or if you have a spatula like this, well and good, go for something like this. Now we'll add 2 important ingredients. The first one is a turmeric powder, which will act as a preservative, and it will also give a nice vibrant color to your ginger and garlic paste. And the second one is I'm going to use some regular cooking oil. You can use any oil of your choice. I'm adding about 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil, because you're not adding any water at all. So this oil will help you to grind the ginger and garlic paste into a nice smooth or fine paste. So instead of water, you're adding oil, and oil also acts as a good preservative for this ginger and garlic paste. Now if you see, our ginger and garlic paste is ready. The color looks so good and vibrant, and here and there you will find a little bit of shreds of the ginger or the peels of the garlic or the fiber of the ginger. That's totally fine. So our ginger and garlic paste is ready. Now you can store this ginger and garlic paste in the refrigerator for about a month, but if you're going to store it in large quantities, make sure you fill it in smaller bottles. The bottle that which you use immediately, you can store it in the refrigerator section, and the others you can store it in the freezer section. But take this out from the refrigerator just 5 minutes before you need the ingredient into the dish, and make sure you put it back immediately. Don't like take it 2 hours prior to your cooking. Don't do that. Just 5 minutes before and put it back immediately. Now before we wrap up with the video, I'm just showing you the consistency of this ginger and garlic paste. If just a closer look of how it looks, and when you drop, it will drop like a nice smooth paste. This is the consistency that we are looking at. Don't make it too runny or watery. And when you store it, it's always recommended to store them in either stainless steel, or the best preference is glass bottles, and make sure they are completely airtight. Every time you use it, make sure you use a nice clean spoon which is nice and dry. Do not use your hands at all. Now see, the other 2 bottles are full, so those 2 will go into the freezer section for me, and the third bottle is a little just halfway, the bottle is just halfway filled, so that will go into the refrigerator section. So as one bottle gets over, I'll bring the other from the freezer to the refrigerator section. I always prefer to put a nice clean spoon inside it, because even by accident I don't want to use a wet spoon inside it. So a homemade ginger and garlic paste is ready. You can preserve it, like if it goes into the freezer, you can preserve it for more than 2 months, but in the refrigerator section probably for a month. So that's why I recommend store them in smaller bottles. So a homemade ginger and garlic paste is ready. If you did enjoy this recipe, please do give us a thumbs up. If you found this video useful, please do share it with your friends. If you are new to our channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit on the bell icon to get all our updates immediately as soon as we upload them. Till we see you again with another new and interesting video, thank you and happy cooking.